really excited to check that out.
Oh,
From
interesting.
1985 games, yeah. I mean, I have the book, but like I want to see what they're handing out for free too.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's like really cool. If you like
Yeah, I've never seen this until now.
Or Zelda, like it's super cool. The potions are so funny. There's like a bunch of new spells and monsters and subclasses. It's like a really cool. They did a really good job of like making this setting.
Yeah, it looks like it's D&D 5e too, and it's on. Damn, it's on D&D Beyond. That's wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did good with that.
That's cool.
One.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, sweet. And then some other big news recently. Everyone knows Daggerheart just came out. And you have an actual play called Bitten, which I popped in for a little bit last week, and can I say, amazing job. The cast, you yourself, and could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the whole premise is basically zombie apocalypse. You know, we all know those sort of stories, but I wanted to kind of lean into the side of like The Last of Us, where it's more like a drama about the people than it is about the zombies. And so that's what we went into this, but it's Last of Us in a fantasy setting. So one bite turns you and all that stuff, and we started a really cool storyline with a bunch of really awesome characters, and the players are just fucking awesome. They're so good. They're just so good. And yeah, we're gonna be going into the 5th session this next Tuesday, and I expect it to go for quite a bit. So we'll see, because I expected this little travel scene, or I guess 5-day travel thing, to go in one session. It did not, and you know what? I am happy about it because I get to play more with these people. But yeah, no, they really bring their A game when it comes to Bitten, and we just have such a great cast of people that, you know, the first 30 minutes before we actually go live, we're all just joking and laughing together, and then we finally jump into it, and then we just make each other cry for the next like 3 hours, and it's incredible. It's so good. But yeah, learning how to play Daggerheart once it got released, and how to like run a game in it has been actually a lot easier than D&D is. Daggerheart is a lot more rules light than D&D, and lost audio over on the hello. Oh, weird.
Hey, the Sama, right? Thank you.
Huh. That's okay.
Oh,
how about now?
It says it's back now. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was so weird. I don't know why I did that. Anyways, yeah, so the cast is just incredible. Right. It is way easier to run than D&D because it's a lot lighter of rules than D&D is, and they have it's just a lot more simple. So when you're prepping things, it's a lot more straightforward than, oh, what if they do this? What if they do this? And it's very like flexible, is like the best way I could put it.
How are you finding the degrees of success with the succeed with hope, succeed with failure and stuff?
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think, God, there's so many crits that these fucking players have rolled. I swear,
it's a higher percentage. It's 7% instead 8% instead of 5%.
It's 8%. Yeah,
it's 8%.
Yeah. So it's a whole like almost 2 times as much.
Yeah, that's a
but
lot.
Like, yeah. So it's been a lot, which makes rolling with fear a lot less. I think it's 44% for with rolling with fear, and then something like that. Let's see, 44 to 88 to, I guess maybe it's higher. So then maybe whatever the math is to create, I think maybe it's 46 to, yeah, 46%. 46% and then 8% on top of that.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, that makes sense because that would get to 92. Yep.
Right. Yeah. So it's about 46 chance to roll with fear, and that's the only way that I get to do things. So that has been interesting to like see how often they roll with it, and I'm like, come on, roll with fear. I want to do something, you know. So there's been some times where I've been like itching to get the fear so that I can start like actually doing things, and it's a lot of fun because especially in combat there's no initiative. So when it gets into combat, I can just start combat with the bad guys and just pay as much fear as I've been getting, and then turn it back over to them and then be like, okay, now you guys are all bloodied up, what are you gonna do?
So how do you respond?
Exactly. Yeah, so it's really cool to have that like back and forth without the initiative, because of the fact that initiative is one roll at the very beginning of combat, and then the entire combat is just based off of that roll. So I really do like this way of initiative where it's kind of just free form. Okay, when you guys fail or roll with fear, it comes back over to me and I get to do stuff without as many fear as I've collected. Okay, cool, I'm good. I want to keep a little bit of fear just in case. I'm going to turn it back over to you guys, and it just kind of keeps on going that way. And then the players can just decide who goes depending on the story and where they are. So one player is in the most danger, obviously they're going to go first, and so they go, and then we focus the spotlight on people that haven't gone yet and all that. And yeah, it's cool. Like I said, really flexible and a lot of fun.
And you're not finding any trouble with needing to track like noticing more people with the spotlight, especially like you've done a really good job putting together a cast.
Dude,
like,
yeah.
The ones that I've been involved with have been really good also. So
yeah.
How do you think, you said you're not, do you have a goal in mind? Is there a story with like a thing going towards? Okay.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Awesome.
I have main points of the story, and getting to those points is where I'm prepping and writing new stuff. So I have the big idea of the campaign already set in my head. It's the in between that I really want to focus on and like tell a important story through those two, because Last of Us is just like that. It's a road trip zombie game where all of the story is based on when they're traveling. That's when you learn about who the characters are, you know. So that's kind of the same concept that I wanted to put into this, where I intentionally didn't put a lot of time into in between, because I knew that I needed to know who the characters were before I started doing any of the prep. Because I need to, like last session we did the cave entrance, which is a look back to who Royla and Elora are two characters. It's a look back at to who they are and what kind of backstory they have, which we're going to be getting into as the story, you know, continues going. And I'm super excited for this Tuesday because shit's going to get wild. Like there's some inter-party conflict that needs to get resolved, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. And that's one of the best things about this group of players, because they're so good at it. And
so you're pre-recording these? Yeah.
No, we're streaming. The first two were pre-recorded. No, the first one was pre-recorded, which we split into two different sessions because two of the players could make it, and then two of the players could make it, and you know they weren't able to. But yeah, and then after episode 1, it was all live stream after that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are you doing Theater of the Mind? Any maps?
For now, it's theater of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to create maps, but I've just been so busy with other things that I haven't. I really enjoy making maps, especially for like certain like really big encounters. So making maps is really great for.
Yeah.
It's like a Zen thing, Like
Totally.
Some people like reading. I love making maps. It's just it takes a lot of work, so sometimes I'm just not able to. So far, it's been theater of the mind.
How do you make your maps? Like any programs or like what have you?
Yeah, I love Incarnate. Incarnate is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I've used it ever since. Jeez, it's been a long time. I mean, cool. I don't even remember when they started, but it was like close to when they started. So I have it's like 25 a year or something like that.
Okay.
And yeah, I haven't left Incarnate for anything. I mean, like, yeah, you can do Photoshop and you can get assets and stuff like that, but I don't know. They have a really good map maker.
Right. We might have to make a trade for some OBS knowledge, for some Incarnate knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
I need to make a world map. I know what it looks like. I have a vision of what my world looks like, but translating it to a map, I need help with.
Yeah. That's the hardest part. I've made world maps before, and it's always like a changing thing. It's never like, okay, I know this is what the landmass looks like, because you make the landmass and then you're like, okay, but what if there was a thing here? And then you go and you change it up again, and then like you make a forest over here, but you're like, what if I split it with a river or whatever? It's always a changing thing.
Totally okay with that.
Show you the ropes.
I just need to get the main, because it's a I ripped off Brandon Sanderson, and it's a slice of a graphical equation. So it's one gigantic continent. Cool. And there's like this huge like mass, and then there's like the bottom part of it is like a curve, and then the rest of the curve is like a chain of islands.
Interesting. That's cool.
If that makes any sense, I'll show you.
No, I'm got you. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, you could easily do that in Incarnate. I mean, like, one of the things is that you can like add land masses to then paint over, and then you can also paint into the background, and it's great. It's a good program.
Yeah. Sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
So what the fear in Daggerheart, I wanted to ask, with when you're spending it, it's not any time you make a move, but like specific moves that call for it, especially within like a monster thing?
So the way that fear works is there are a few things that you can do with it, and then there's a few things that are kind of like it's not unclear, it's just flexible, I guess is the best way to say. When in combat, when a player fails a roll or rolls with fear, the initiative, or the spotlight in this case, one sec. Man, jeez.
Bless you.
Thank you. The initiative or spotlight goes over to the GM, and then once the GM gets the spotlight from that, they get to spotlight a adversary for free, not having to spend any fear at all.
Okay.
Any adversary after that requires a fear to spotlight. So if I have 5 different people that are fighting the party, I would have to, and they failed a roll, we'll say, so it comes over to me. I would be able to spotlight this person for nothing. It's just I automatically get to, and then I would have to spend 4 extra fear in order to get the other 4 to do something.
Okay.
There are different types of actions that adversaries can take. So there are some that require a fear to do. So in my game with Bitten, the bite action requires a fear to do. So if I got that free adversary move, I would have to spend that fear in order to bite. if I wanted to spotlight other blighters, I would have to spend 2 fear to do the bite.
That was just what I was going to
ask. 1
to
activate them, 1 to actually do the bite. So
cool.
Yeah, so in the cases of like having to do like 5 different blighters, it's a lot of fear when I want to do bites and stuff like that. But it makes it so that the bites are very like, because in this game, if you get bit, you are done.
Yeah, no,
so
they mean something.
The mechanics, exactly. And every single time that I say this, there is going to be this blighter is going to try and bite you, everything, the whole mood of the table changes, because it's like, oh crap, like now this is real. So yeah, if there's a fear move, you can use fear for that. There is the other side of things where you can use fear to do big things in the story. So like, this is when the adversaries show up. That's you spend a fear to do that.
Okay.
Or if somebody fails a roll, you can spend a fear to have them gain a stress, or maybe even not even having to do the fear. You could just have them gain a stress depending on the situation. You can also use fear to when an adversary is like restrained or vulnerable or some sort of condition. You can use the fear to end the condition. The one thing about being a GM, though, is that you can only highlight each adversary once per switch of the spotlight. So if it switches over to me and I have the 5 and 4 of them are restrained, I could use this one to do whatever action I want, and then I could spend fear to stop the restrained action, or the restrained condition for those 4, but that would be it. And then I would have to bring it back over to the players, even if I have, X amount of fear left over. Then there's some monsters that have almost like multi-attack, but it's like you can spotlight them multiple times per spotlight switch. So it'll be like, I think it's called Relentless, I think is what it's called. So Relentless 3.
Yeah.
And you get to spotlight them normally. So if you wanted to spotlight this one, you can do the one for free. And then you would have to spend an additional fear for each other spotlight that you do for that adversary. So if you want to do the Relentless 3, you would have to spend 3 fear if you spotlighted something else already, or 2 if this is the first one that you're spotlighting.
Oh.
So yeah,
that's cool.
It sounds really complicated, but it's really so simple when you get into the swing of things. Like once you start playing and doing combat, it's so simple.
Yeah, but I feel like you explained it pretty well in like, I don't know, 10 minutes. So I would say
good. Like
that's pretty good, man. Like
good. I would hope so. I'm making the how-to videos, so I hope I can do it well.
Let's see. Now I want to move on to Candela Obscura and D&D for a second. So because we did that Candela Obscura, we have that campaign going. Is that the right word? We have that, that group going?
Campaign.
And it's so fun. I don't want to compare mechanics, but I would like to compare vibes of like Daggerheart and Candela, because they're coming from the same company. How is it like preparing for each of them? Especially because they both have similar resolution mechanics in the degrees of success.
Yeah. So Candela has that's a D6 system. So if it's a 1 to 3, that's a full failure. 4 and 5 is a mixed success, and then a 6 is a full success, with double 6s being a crit. So there's 4 results in Candela, and then there's 5 different results in Daggerheart. So there's failing with fear, failing with hope, succeeding with fear, succeeding with hope, and then critical success. So going down the line with, we'll start with Candela. Candela is pretty simple when it comes to either the full failure, full success, or critical success, because critical success in any game is you get a good thing that happens, like a really good thing. And then, full success is you get what you want, and then failure is you don't. The mixed success is the one that's usually the more difficult one to figure out, because you are succeeding, but there's a cost to that success. And figuring out what that looks like in a story sometimes is a little difficult to figure out as the GM. But one of the cool things about all of the tips and tricks that you can see online and how people run Candela on specifically Critical Role is, you know, sometimes they'll just ask the players what they think happened, like, how do you succeed with a cost? And then usually the players have something even worse than you could ever come up with as a GM, because, you know, because you know, some of the players are just masochists and they just like to be in pain sometimes, and it's fine. That's fine. Totally cool.
I do it all the time in D&D. Nat 1. What? How do you fail? Oh, I dropped my weapon. Cool. You did that. I didn't do it.
Great.
Like,
that's what happened. Yeah, that was all you, bud.
You're prone. Great. You did it, not me.
Yeah. So that's kind of Candela. It's relatively simple, and one of the things about like vibes specifically with Candela is it's a lot more modern. So I think that pulling out like some sort of cost is a little easier, because you can like actually picture yourself in that world a little bit better, because you have more things to connect with. So I think that that's one of the things with Candela. The thing with Daggerheart having 5 different results. So failing with fear is you get the worst thing possible. You don't get what you want, and there are consequences. Failure with hope is you don't get what you want, but it's not as bad as it could have been. So that's kind of like that mixed success, or this would be like a mixed failure. Succeeding with fear means you get what you want, but there's a cost. So that's that success, mixed success that's similar to Candela. And then there's the full success, the succeeding with hope. You get what you want, and there's no consequences. And then critical success is you get what you want and a little bit something extra on top of that. So I think that having experience with Candela so much, like I've run so many games of Candela, and having that idea of what mixed successes look like and how to bring them into the story, I think that has transferred over. I think that's one thing that, like what you were saying, between both games that is really similar, and skill is like 1-to-1 in coming up with those things on the fly. Because I'm not prepping, you know, what happens if they succeed with fear on this specific check when I'm doing my writing and all that stuff, because that's you can write as much as you want, but then there's going to be one player that does something completely different than you could have expected, and then you're like, what am I going to do? So it's all based on that, like that moment. So I think that I really do like how there is like that tier, and it's very clear as to when something happens.
I love degrees of success.
Exactly. D&D, there are certain things that say if it's under 5, then this happens, but it doesn't happen often as rules as written. And so when they just miss the DC, it's hard to kind of visualize, like, okay, what is this? You completely fail even though you were this close. So sometimes it's a little difficult to like add that into the story, like, okay, that was a failure. That's it. Totally. Period. End of story. And then you have the success, and then you have the critical success, and that's it. So I think that, and then like if you just meet it, there's no like mixed success. Like you just barely do it. Like you jump over to the other side of a cliff and your foot slips or something like that. There's nothing like that. It's you succeed.
And it's how you describe it. You got to interpret it that way, and I try to. I try to like let them know, hey, it's a DC 15 for you to like to climb up this thing, and then, you know, sometimes I'll you know, taking Brennan's, like, I got it from him where he tells you if you do a 10 it's this, if you get a 15 it's this, if you get a 20 it's this. Like I love being upfront about those kinds of things, and like you were saying, it can be hard to like know when to have those degrees of success if you're just using DC 15 or whatever the number is. like, and what I try to do is, like, when something is barely missed, that's when I'm like, okay, so you grab on but you're hanging on barely, and I throw it to somebody else. How do you help your friend, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But the game doesn't tell you to do that.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing, is that, like, if you're a new GM,
mm-hmm.
there is nothing to tell you to do that. You know, like, and especially with something like D&D is very mathematical. There is so much crunch in D&D, if you want there to be.
Yeah.
I'll say it that way. So if I'm a new GM, I'm already overwhelmed with how much math there is and how many rules I need to keep and
mm-hmm.
how the characters are supposed to play and yada, 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 yada. So adding that on top of it and being able to expect somebody to be like, okay, I have all of this other stuff happening, but I'm going to take a moment to think about this specific role and how that result turns either mixed success or a mixed failure or whatever. It's just, since there are no rules baked into it, there isn't a checkpoint at that time where the GM is like, okay, what happens? It's more of, you failed, this is what happens, and that's it. Yeah. So I really like Daggerheart because of that reason, where it's like, there are more things than just succeeding and failing.
Yeah.
There are, like, succeeding barely and failing barely.
Yeah.
And that makes the story much more interesting because there are so many different results that you can get.
It gives it more color, you know? You're painting with 4 colors or 5 colors instead of 2 or 3.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think that it's overwhelming by any means either, because it's not on the GM to figure out if it's barely succeeding or not. There is a difficulty. If they pass it, great. That's a success first.
Yeah.
If they don't, that's a failure. And then the players tell you if it's with hope or with fear. So you never have to do any, like, well, this is kind of like, they got a 14 out of 15. I don't know, maybe a 13. Is that a mixed success or a mixed failure, I guess, in this case? You never have to guess. It's always like, this is what it is. That's it. And so, yeah.
Cool. Okay, so now I'm gonna move on. If you could give one tip to a new game master of, I want to do all 3: Daggerheart, Candela Obscura, and D&D. What would that tip be?
Okay, so for Candela,
yep,
I think one of the biggest tips that I could give is when you are, it's specifically, I'll say that you're writing your own stuff, because there really isn't a whole bunch of pre-made adventures and stuff like that. So you're probably going to be writing your own stuff. I would say that the biggest thing to do when writing your own stuff is to make sure that there are at least 3 clues in each different place. And those clues don't have to have a specific place where your players can find it. It's just, I was talking to Spencer Stark about this on the interview that I did with him in Rowan. And Spencer had said they're called quantum clues, because it's things that they're ideas that you have of what the clue is going to be.
Yeah.
And then it's the players that find where they are. So in one of my best examples is I ran a game where a calendar had like an interview date on it, and I had placed that in the kitchen, I think is what it was. But they went to the bedroom, and I was like, okay, sure, we'll have it on the wall of the bedroom, because people have calendars.
Calendar could be anywhere. I got one right there.
Exactly, I have one on my desk right here too. So yeah, something so simple as that.
Yeah.
Or like there's like a watch that is broken with like something on the other side of it or something like that. That could be anywhere in the room or in the house. So having things like that you can move around, and at least 3, because if you only have one, it's going to get missed.
Yep.
It is going to get missed. That is just how it works. It's just one of the things that if you think that it's going to happen, it's probably not.
Yeah. Thanks for the follow.
Always have at least 3.
Yeah, the 3 clue rule is like great. I think I read about it on the Alexandrian.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And then like you were saying is make them like you need to make the information on a different level. It's like there's a calendar that exists with a date circled. Who knows where it is?
Exactly.
Right. It's not Suzanne saw a person in the courtyard at night. It's somebody saw a person in the courtyard at night.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, it'll.
So, and then if that happens and they don't go to talk to Suzanne, there could be an NPC that's just outside looking at what these investigators are doing. Oh, he's so suspicious. Let's go chase him. And then we'll ask him what happened. And that person has that information. Yeah. So that's the quantum clue. Yeah. That's somebody has this information. I don't know who. We're going to figure it out as we go.
Yeah. But it's also still going to make sense going when it all comes together.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because it's great. Okay. I love that. Yeah. 3 clue rule for investigative mysteries. Yeah.
Yep. With Daggerheart, one of the things that I would say is really lean into that collaborative storytelling side. I think one of the things with D&D that I've kind of adopted is that the GM has to have so much stuff prepared in D&D because it's such a rules heavy game that like you have health potions that do a specific amount and you have armor that you can only buy from certain people. You have magic items galore. My God, there's so many of them. You have so many different types of monsters. You have so many different types of traps. You have whole dungeons. You use maps. You have blah, 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 blah. But with Daggerheart, they really simplify all of that. And so when, like what I said earlier, if there is a failure with hope, ask the player, how does that happen? Or if there are moments in the story where you think that something should be, really like a really interesting moment for a character, turn it over to them. What does your character think at this moment? Or is there something that reminds them of this moment? What is it? Yeah. And like have the players bring that information into the story.
Love it.
And that creates that really interesting like backstory and sometimes conflict, which I mean, conflict is a story. You can't have a story without conflict. So I think that really leaning into that collaborative side and not having everything prepared is, I know that that's like kind of the opposite of what GMs initially think that they need to do, is just kind of rolling with it and just allowing the players to really do a lot of the heavy lifting. I think that when that happens, there's a lot less on the GM's plate.
Yeah.
Which makes it a lot easier to run.
Yeah.
So I think that that's one of the biggest things that I've taken from running Bitten in Daggerheart is just that I can let the players take this. I can, when I trust the players, like I don't have to do much. I create a scene and I say, go for it.
Yeah.
This is what happens. Okay, you did that. Ooh, I have this other thing. What if I bring that in? And, kind of like a quantum clue in essence, but like I have this whole thing set up. Cool. Now what do you do? And it's like so simple too. Like this farm encounter that I had with the last session, it was so simple. I had maybe 5 bullet points of things that happened.
Yep.
And that's it. And then the rest of it, I either came up with it on the spot or I let the players decide what happens, So I think that's what I would say.
My prep is to help me improvise.
Right. Yes, exactly.
It's like you're saying, they're going to a farm. Here's some things they could find. In my list of clues, there'll probably be something linked to the farm or wherever that is, and there'll be a couple NPCs they may or may not find depending on what they do, what time of day they go, how they approach it. It's like setting up a situation and letting them approach it however they want to.
Exactly. And I think, I can't remember who said this, or maybe it was just me doing random Google search, but it's Improv is the connection between preparedness and spontaneity.
Yes.
So you need to be prepared in order to have that full improv.
Yeah.
Like spontaneity is a important piece of improv, but so is that preparedness.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you don't have anything in front of you, if you haven't prepped at all, obviously you're not going to be able to do a good amount of improv because it is just on that spontaneity. And great ideas are never just off the top of the dome and let's just roll with it. I mean, sometimes there are, but most of the time it's not.
It's also, your experience up to that moment. It's how you're feeling, the vibes you're getting, but also, depending on, 20 years of game mastering experience is its own type of preparation.
Absolutely. Yeah. I ran this one thing and this happened 10 years ago. I'm going to take that and bring that into here. Absolutely.
Yeah. I have a map memorized, or I have a quick storyline memorized, or what have you. It's totally its own type of prep.
Yeah, the Lost Mines of Fendelver, very beginning cave goblin encounter.
It's such a beautiful cave.
It's so good. It's great. It's an amazing first level encounter to start off a campaign, and I have that fully memorized because of how many times I ran that encounter with people that wanted to start playing D&D.
Yeah,
it's you get the ambush, then you have the lookout tower, and then you go up, and then there's a little right offshoot with a little wolf that's connected to the thing, and then there's like a climb up where you can get to the last part, and then it's a whole all memorized in the dome.
I saw someone took that whole module and turned it into a Star Wars theme.
Interesting.
So
that's
it was
cool.
it was like a cave on an asteroid or something, or whatever, on like a small moon or something. Yeah, it was cool. It was really cool.
SW5E is the more like well-known 5E conversion for Star Wars. It's really cool. Like they have their own like character creator online. And and they have like books that they've printed and stuff like that. So it's robust to say the least.
Nice.
And it's free.
Oh, that is good to know.
Because they can't make money off of it.
Yep.
Because it's not their IP.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason why they haven't been cease and desist.
Oh yeah, smart.
Orders from Disney, because if they did, if Disney had any idea that was happening, they would have been. They would
probably
have been done.
do.
But
it's free publicity.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we did Candela. We did Daggerheart. Now D&D.
D&D. There are so many things to say about running D&D. I think my biggest tip for people that want to start running is use a prepared module. It is a lot of work. Like when I first started GMing, I wanted to make my own world. And do all of that work and create everything down to the smallest minute detail. But then you run into burnout because you're like, oh, I have to do all of this city making again and again and again and again. And one of the things that I dislike the most is, I know it's so weird, but like NPCs. I just it's so much work to come up with something unique about this person. And what their stats are.
I got an NPC generator. It doesn't make stats because for me an NPC doesn't need stats. If I'm gonna call it a creature or a monster or a stat block, but an NPC, it's amazing. It's like 2 sentences. It's like a name, their race, and like 2 adjectives, a quirk.
Okay.
Like and then sometimes they have a pet. Hold on, let me pull it up really quick.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's the 50% chance they'll have a pet that also has a quirk.
Cool.
Morin Wildwood is a clumsy and stubborn dwarf that is always up to date with the latest baking. Elizabeth Yilmaz.
Dude, that alone, just that is enough to be like, I know exactly who this NPC is. That's cool.
Elizabeth Yilmaz
send me the link.
Is a lazy and talented half-elf that wants to be escorted to a dangerous location to find a valuable treasure, and their pet Glycinda the llama that follows their owner everywhere.
Send me the link to that because that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's one thing that I hate doing, but now, yeah, that'll make it so easy. And then you could just make it into whatever TTRPG you want.
And there's the pronouns are all neutral, so you can make it whatever you want to. And then I'll put I'll have this page open while I'm running a game, or I'll just make 5 or 10 of them and put it into my notes and just grab a random one when I need it. You know, it's super.
That's
helpful.
A good idea.
I'll put it in chat too, just in case anyone else wants it.
Yeah, do it.
Johnny, just let me write all
I
your
would say.
NPCs.
Sure, absolutely. Give it to me.
Yes.
I'll take them. I'll throw them in there.
Do it.
So I think one of the main things that I would say is, if you do homebrew, do the minimum, because I'm gonna keep harping on this point, but you can then bring all of the rest of the details onto your players. Like, I understand the want to amaze your players with the world that you've created, but there's also the side of, why would they care? They don't have any stake in it. Like, unless you have top tier, the coolest world ever, if you have a usual world where I'm not saying that you're not an incredibly creative person, but people sometimes just don't care, and they just think that it's a game.
And
right?
that's the thing.
And that's totally fine.
It's
just,
they're not gonna care until they need to care, because it's for the story and their character. And if there is something that you want them to care about, you gotta make it important to their character and the story. You need to make them from that town. Make them know that NPC directly. They should know the ancient language scrawled on the wall. One of the characters knows it, or whatever it is. Connect them directly to make them care.
Make their character shine. Bring in their backstory and have them create things in your world, because then they care.
Yep.
I created that, so now I care.
Yep.
It's not a selfish thing. It's just, when you get to create your own world, obviously as a GM, when you're creating your world, that's what we love. That's the coolest part about it. Now take that and think, okay, they probably would like doing this as well. Because
some of the best parts of my world
too
are made by my characters.
Exactly. So, that's one of the big things. I harp on that point, but make the world minimal. You start off in a town. Just make that.
Just make a town.
Maybe you have cool ideas.
Yeah. Spiral campaign development. You heard about that? Where you start with one small thing and just spiral out as you need to. And only, because I would say, only homebrew if it's fun for you. If it's homework, if you're not liking it, don't do it. Or if certain parts of homebrewing you don't like. You don't like making monsters? Cool. Thousands everywhere. If you don't like making cities and towns, thousands everywhere. You don't like making NPCs, thousands everywhere. Do the what's fun for you, and then try to bring it to your players if it makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, go minimum, and there's also so many adventures out there that you could just steal from. I mean, That's a big thing too. Steal everything. Unless you're on like an actual play and like you are trying to come up with something original so that you're not actually like one for one stealing. Like,
you know
steal
how many
everything
things?
if you're in a home game.
Every time I look up lore on Dungeons and Dragons, I'm like, that was a plot point in Critical Role.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly.
He borrows from everything. So does everybody. Yep. Everybody does. I have taken. I mean, I said it earlier. I stole an idea from Brandon Sanderson. I take ideas from The Wheel of Time. I take ideas from Dune. All of my favorite books that I've ever read, TV shows, things that have happened to me in real life. All right, one time I was walking to work. It's super early. It's maybe like 7 a.m. In the city, and a squirrel runs out and a cat runs out, and they stop and both look at me, and we're in this like Mexican standoff for like 30 seconds, and then the squirrel and cat go running off.
That was a glitch in the Matrix right there.
So
that was a glitch in their code. They shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. And when I need a silly animal thing for a second, I pull that scene and have something happen.
Right.
You know, it's steal from everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, inspiration can come from anything, including stealing. Like Avatar: The Last Airbender. There's so much travel content in there that I've been like, ooh, that's a cool little thing. Like hallucinating fruits. My God, like that's just incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steal from everything. Mm-hmm. That's my biggest thing too.
I do want to say in about 4 minutes, no, less than 4 minutes, we're going to take a break for some ads and just to general take a break.
Cool.
Just to let everybody know that's watching. Johnny's stance, steal everything, put that on a t-shirt. Yep, I love it. Print it, send it to the shop. Let's go.
Yep.
Cabbage guy.
So funny.
Yes.
Savannah also is like a t-shirt printing, like that's their day job. So I mean, yeah. If you want to do it, let's do it. Steal everything. Just
steal everything. Well, you know the quote, good artists copy, great artists steal. It's the because copy is like yoink and I'm just using it verbatim. For me, stealing is taking a bunch of different things and molding it into my own new thing that's mine. Yeah. I think that's one of those things that when I first started, I tried not to because I wanted to create my own original story. But my God, it's truly not worth it because you're spending so much more time on like trying to create something original, and then you find out that it's already been done. Nothing's original, so many times. Like, exactly. And that's I think a better definition of original is coming from the heart. Not something that is brand new that's never been made before. Yeah. I mean, Bitten, like I said, it's heavily based off of all of the zombie movies up until now. All of the zombie stories that I watched. I watched Walking Dead, I watched Last of Us, and played the game, and I watched 28 Days Later. 28 Weeks Later was so bad. So bad. 28 Days Later is so good, though. 28 Days Later is incredible. Incredible movie. The second one is like so mid. It's like, how? I don't understand what happened. It was like, there was just so many dumb decisions that they made in that movie. Yeah. It was so bad. And then they're coming out with the 28 Years Later, which is supposed to be the same as the first person that created 28 Days Later. So hopefully it's good. It's supposed to come out this week, I think, or maybe it already came out. I can't remember, but I'm gonna go see it. Yeah. No, but I was thinking Fantasy Walking Dead also. Exactly. Someone then the Sama said, grab a module, take the name of the village. I am actually currently running my players through D&D modules in my homebrew world. So that's doing, what I did too. I'm taking different the different anthology adventures and just mixing them up however I want to and basing them or in my world. And it's still, I mean, like, our thing that we've made,
Exactly. And then there's gonna be original things, like original NPCs that you just randomly come up with, or original encounters, like a cat chasing a squirrel, and then them both having this
just
reality moment of like, wait.
Yeah, like, it was so trippy.
There is always going to be something original about your story, regardless of how much you steal from other IPs. Like, I mean,
especially once the players get in the mix.
Bitten, it's
because the players are going to change everything.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And thank you, Honey Mocha. I really appreciate it. It's ads time, so we're gonna take a break here, and we'll be back in about 3 to 5 minutes. Thank you.
Cool. Dude, this is great. I always love just talking shop. Cool. Cool, yeah. Yeah. No, this is a shake that I made earlier and I just didn't finish. So figured I might as well just finish it now. Why not? I had my daily coffee already. No, that's all right. I get it. It's an acquired taste. Yeah, tea is good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Those are good too. Let's do it. Mm-hmm. I got my Daggerheart dice out, which is all of them, just with 2. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, green is the hope, and then pink is the fear. Oh, I just crit. Cool. 2 8s. Wild. Yeah. Significantly higher. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. Yep. Let's do it.
3, 2, 1, and we're back. A Dinosaur Story. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, the one where it's the 3D animated one, right? No? Oh god. Which one is this? Or no, that one was just called Dinosaur, right?
Yeah. No, this one's a 2D cartoon. There's like a circus and some dinosaurs come to life.
Man, now Dinosaur story. Dude, you know what was really good? We're Back.
Yeah.
Dude, classic. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah?
We're Back, a dinosaur story.
Yeah.
We're talking about the same thing.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that was a good fucking movie.
Yeah. It's not 3D.
Holy shit, I can't believe that actually happened. No, it's not 3D. Yeah. It's a 2D one for sure. But like, I didn't know that it was We're Back, a dinosaur story. So we were literally talking about the same movie.
Yeah.
Just different parts of the title. Yeah, that was a good movie. I love it. When the dinosaurs start going back into their like prehistoric mindset of like, you know, animals. And then they have to come back and then so good. Yeah, heartwarming story. I love it.
It's super cool. Okay, so now the next thing we're gonna do is a D20 lightning round. I got 20 questions. I have, and these might be some deep questions. I have a 3-minute timer.
Let's do it.
I keep a 1 minute and 3 minute timer in my DM bag.
Good.
And I rarely ever use them. I don't like to use timers to like make them do things quicker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's something to be said about a almost like ableist sort of mindset with that, because some people just don't process as quick as others.
Yeah.
So I use timers when I know that the players aren't if they don't have like a cognitive disability or something like that. Like I make sure that, and even then I'm still like, this is to add stress to the story because that makes cool stories, conflict. Like that. Period.
I use it for story reasons, not for combat things. It's more like, you're in quicksand now. Let me.
Right.
We'll do 2 turns of this, you know, and that's to get out or something. You know, that's where I'm using it.
It's hard to. It's not hard. It's something to always be aware of. I think when you're running stuff, it's just like who are my players. So I mean, like when you have players that you know are chill with timers and stuff like that, go for it. But like one thing that I think of when I think of that kind of a thing is specifically with Critical Role, Taliesin sometimes has a lot of, and I'm not saying that he has a cognitive disability or anything like that.
Yeah.
But like Taliesin has to have enough time to like look through all of his details and things like that. He is one of the ones that take a little bit longer than all the other ones. So adding a timer to what he's doing would be kind of fucked up in my eyes. Like that's a thing where you're like, oh, I'm going to flip over a timer. Okay, you have 3 minutes. And then they end up doing something that they don't want to do. And then it's like, who's that fun for? You know?
Because there's a difference between like not knowing something because you haven't like tried to learn it versus like processing information works differently.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so D20 lightning round. I'm gonna start it when I end asking the question. The first question, okay?
Cool.
All right, 3, 2, 1. How did you get started with Dungeons and Dragons?
Great question. So back when D&D 5e was first released in 2014, it was that next year that-ish, or no, actually it was right around the start of it. One of my friends printed out all of the pages of the player's handbook and then like gave it to us. Like totally illegal, but whatever, who cares? Printed it out, sent it to all of us, and ran Lost Mines of Phandelver, because what else do you do when a new system comes out other than do the starting adventure? That is what I did. I created a paladin for my first character, obviously, because if you know me, then you know me. But yeah, that was my first start.
2, what's your first set of dice?
Ooh, good question. I actually have a large version of it. You can't really see it right here, but it's a black D20 with blue lettering and kind of like a galaxy kind of speckle paint on it. I had a set of those, and that was just this one reminded me of it, so I got a bigger one. I don't know where they are now.
Mm-hmm.
They're somewhere. I don't know if I'll ever find them, unfortunately, but yeah.
Favorite video game?
Ooh, recently, Expedition 33. Clair Obscur is such a good game. My God, I tell everybody. So I'll go with that. That's my favorite game so far, right now, in recent time.
Advice for a younger version of you?
Dang, that's a good one.
Regarding TTRPGs.
Regarding TTRPGs, don't do too much. Like, it's totally fine to just take things, and like the biggest things that I tell people are the biggest things that I would tell myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Favorite PC you've made?
Shoot, that's a good question too. I think I created a level 20 artificer that is just absolutely busted, and I just love making busted characters. So Praxis is awesome. Praxis.
Mm-hmm. Favorite NPC you've made?
I made a turtle character called Boomoo, who was just this really slow mage, magical item creator that was very slow because like leaning into that turtle side, and it was just infuriating for the players to interact with them because they always had to do it really slow.
That's it. That's all we got.
I'll put in a bunch of reallys until the very end. When you're trying to write for
six
word
questions.
That was good. That's good.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
I want to do one more because I really like this question. Why do you love playing TTRPG so much?
It's funny. So when I was in school, I was always like a math person. And I never really enjoyed writing. And I think it's because I never had something that I was interested in writing. It was always just, here's a prompt, make the writing, go do it. And even in the free response, I never read when I was younger because reading for me, for my ADHD, I can't do it. And so when it came to free writes and all of that stuff, I never really thought about it. You know, I just wrote whatever.
Yeah.
But I was also a very creative person. So when I'm out and when I was a kid playing, I would come up with like whatever, and like what I guess LARPing is the best way to put it. And coming up with random stories in my head, or like drawing or whatever. So I was always creative, but I just never had an outlet to do it with. I always wanted to do acting, but I also was more into sports at the time than I was into theater. And I was also afraid of like being bullied and things like that as well, because I was, and so I didn't want that to happen again. And now that I was in with the cool crowd and doing sports and all that stuff, I didn't want to go back, and this was all high school. I obviously know that that's fucking stupid now. But I never did. So with me being creative, with me wanting to do acting, it was just the next like obvious step other than like actually acting. But yeah, I love writing and creating a world, and I love being able to act as whatever NPC like Boomoo. It's great.
Yeah, it scratches like so many itches for me at the same time, and then because I can move between all of them. So if I get bored with world building, I can go to adventure, like just adventure thinking, or I can go to map making or picking out a map or whatever it is, or I can go in and make a video on my phone, or I can make a random table, or I can pick music.
So much involved.
That's one of the things that I love about being a DM too, is Lets my ADHD do a bunch of things at once.
Yeah.
But also,
yeah, I'm not getting dopamine from this anymore. Switch.
Yeah, the fun. It's a weird term. The lonely fun of a DM, you know, when you're away from the game is I think interesting, because you gotta find that fun for you. You gotta find what, and it might take a while. You might have to try running different games different ways. I've tried prepping everything for a session. I've tried prepping nothing. I've tried prepping a couple of things, and now I know what works for me. I know that having a list of a few random names and NPCs is really helpful. I know having I make a loot table, a D20 loot table, using Don John has that treasure generator. Yeah. So anytime they're like, oh, I want to loot the body. Oh, I'm going to search the desk. Oh, I'm going to... And I hadn't planned. I can, okay, roll a D20. When here's what you find. And then tying it back into the story. Oh, you find some copper. And there's a map to a wizard tower. And then now, I have an idea for an adventure.
When... Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When you leave the session, that's when you have that solo GMing. Okay, cool. Now, what does this map lead to? Like, what wizard tower is that?
Yeah.
That's the really cool part. Yeah, I think that I really fell into the GMing and really loved being able to create like right off the bat. Like it was like instant. Like I was meant to do this. This is what I like doing. And I think that it's when you were saying you know, you do it for yourself because you can't talk to your players about the things that you create. I mean, if you have a connection, I think that's the hardest part, is that like the usual person that's not in like actual plays or anything like that don't have friends that aren't already in the GM, or I mean the D&D game that they're playing, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's really tough to like keep all of that inside and be like, oh my god, this is so cool, and have to wait until the next session. But I think it's just so much fun. It's so much fun.
Yeah, but also having an outlet to be able to like, I think it's best to like, if you have an idea that you're excited about, use it as soon as possible.
Yeah. Because you never know when it's going to end.
Yeah. Dude, use your cool ideas as you have them. Like,
yeah.
And
give them a deck of many things.
Like, I want to, like, because the thing is, like, you want to be excited about the stuff you're creating, but you also want to be excited about their characters in the world and stuff, so that you're excited about creating stuff for the players and the characters in the world. Because, like, I use the 8 steps of session prep from Sly Flourish. And the first step is your characters. And so that's not just like the name and the race. That's, okay, there's a rogue. They need stuff to hide behind. They need locks to pick. They need stuff to steal. There's a barbarian. They need a big dumb guy to fight. There's a druid. I'm going to need names for funny plants. Like it's, and I know that character is, or that player likes, a silly little guy, so I'm gonna make a silly little guy plant, you know. Or if I knew that they liked,
always a good fallback.
If I knew that they liked more serious, uppity type noble people, maybe the plant is a noble voice or something like that. You know, there's so many ways to take your excitement and mash it up with the player's character's story and world. Yeah,
Sly Flourish has just really, really good prep guides.
And it's all
really
like,
good stuff
for free. There's a bunch of it's in the Creative Commons. You don't even have to go buy the books.
Yeah, that's what I read when I first started. Was, you know, the lazy DM.
Yeah.
Like how do you prep without having to do over prep? Because that's what I ran into when I first started, was I over prepped everything.
Bro, I designed it like a module. I didn't know what to do.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, like that's what my mind thought was that is what you had to do.
Yeah.
And that's why I always thought that D&D was so much more complicated, because I always thought that the GM had to create everything. But it's not true. You don't have to do that. And so, that's when I found the lazy DM. That's when I tried to do all of that stuff. That's when I leaned a lot more onto improv and, bringing the characters into the story and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, it's great. So helpful. Like, I went from, like, I think that first session I ran was totally, like, I planned it like a module. Like, the whole, it was bad. And then I found the 8 steps, and I was like, this is so much better.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I also know that, like, my way of prepping has changed so much constantly. It was constantly changing until I finally found the thing that I really like. And so, like, it's going to be a learning experience from the get-go. Like, even now I have things that I learn about GMing that I'm like, oh
yeah,
like,
I love learning.
Just recently with right, exactly. I mean, it's amazing. That's like one of the greatest things about this position in the TTRPG table is that, like, you're constantly learning how the players play, so how you can accommodate that, and then you're constantly learning how to run the game, like how to prep, how to run monsters, how to write monsters, how to blah 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 blah, how to make maps, and all of the different facets of GMing. You're always learning to do things better, more efficient, and a lot more fun.
And in your own way, for what works for you, because what works for me isn't going to work for you, isn't going to work for Honeymoka, isn't going to work for the Sama, isn't going to work for whomever.
Yeah.
And I love that. One of the cool things about, like, published adventures are people can come together and be like, oh, what did you do when this happened? What did you do when what did you do at Death House? How did you approach it? What did you do in the Lost Mines? How did you fight the goblins? Like, what stupid thing did you say to Clark? Like, because everybody says stupid things to Clark.
Of course, yeah. It's like a requirement.
And I think that's an amazing part. But even if you are doing homebrew, there's still that sense of, I fought some goblins. Everybody knows what it's like to fight some goblins. Everybody knows what it's like to haggle with the shopkeep. Everybody knows what it's like to not sense the trap.
Or just go to a door and not check for traps and then open it, and then what do you know, there's a trap.
Yeah.
It's great. Good stuff. Or stand in front of a door trying to figure out how to open it, but it's unlocked and you just didn't try to open it.
After a couple minutes, I'm just like, I'm gonna assume competence. You try the doorknob and it's unlocked. You don't open it, but you try it and it's unlocked.
Oh, that we should have fucking done it in the first place. Yeah.
Oh man.
So many good things about being a GM.
Hair everywhere. And, like, the thing too is I college kind of sucked, but the one thing I am very happy about it is I learned how to learn. I learned how I learn how to make things fun for me, how to make things, so that I actually want to learn and be good at it and want to do it. And keep doing it over time for a long period of time. Yeah. It's like so, I think, important.
Yeah. I think college for me was interesting, like during that time period. Not specifically college, but during that time period of college, I've met all the friends that I have now through college. Not all of them. I had them from high school, and I still have friends, but like all the friends that are here in the area that I live nowadays from college. And that was the first group of people that I played D&D with. So it really formed my way of how I run games and how I want to run games.
Yeah.
And so I think that was one of the best things that could have happened for me, was having that initial group and learning how to GM and how I liked GMing and all of that stuff, just in a different avenue as what you had. Like,
yeah,
how do I prep? How do I write maps? How do I write a homebrew world? Blah, blah, blah. All of that is what I went through with this group. And yeah, 1 to 15. Took them from level 1 to 15.
Yeah, I think my first one we did 1 to 12, 1 to 11, 1 to 12. Yeah.
Cool.
How many dragons we fought? We fought dragons 2 times, but the first time there was 2 dragons.
Oh, nice.
They were twin young dragons. And then so one of them was like in polymorphed so long that he like forgotten how to go back to being a dragon. So at half HP.
That's cool.
Turned into a dragon.
That's cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I did Rise of Tiamat. So I started with Death House. I never finished Lost Mines of Fendelver. But I've always ran the very beginning of it so many times.
Yeah, it's a good 5-room dungeon. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's great. I started with Death House instead of Lost Mines beginning. And then I had them shoot out of the manor in Lost Mines instead of Curse of Strahd. And then they just continued with the Lost Mines storyline. And then finished that. Went into, I think, my own homebrew thing at that point of, finding bits and pieces from different people that, published onto DM's Guild. And then gave them a deck of many things. And one of them wished for, because they got the moon, obviously. And then they wished for the next 5 cards or something like that pulled would be the sun, which is like the massive level up one. And so I was like, yeah, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'll just throw out all of the in-between for this campaign, and we'll just go directly from level 5 to level 9 and just continue the campaign into Rise of Tiamat. So we just did that and then ended, and it was great.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. No, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Speaking of D&D, do you want to play a quick little scenario?
Absolutely. Always down.
Yes. Okay. You are walking home through the woods, heading back from the local village, getting some groceries. What did you get?
I think I needed to get a little bit of leather, and I needed to get some rope and some ale, obviously.
Yeah? Nice. Yeah. And it's midday. We're in the forest is like cedar and pine. There's a few ash trees, and you hear a crack, a snapping of a twig off to the side, some distance away.
I think at first I stopped moving, and then I'm gonna pull out the bow that I have and just have an arrow knocked and ready to go. And just looking towards whatever that is to see if I can see the source of the sound.
Can you make a perception check? We'll call it a DC 12. Do you think that your character would be good at perception?
I think so. But I did roll a 4.
A 4. Die, so okay, so we'll call it a +3, so that's a 7.
Yep.
You don't. There's like some bushes and stuff, but you really You can't tell where the sound came from.
Okay. So I think once that happens, I'll just hold the bow and the arrow in my hand, in my left hand, as I'm picking back up the groceries and walking towards my home once again.
Yeah.
Keeping aware of my surroundings, trying to stay alert.
Yeah, I would say a few minutes later down the path, you feel a tug on the pack with your groceries. There's a little...
Drop the groceries and look down.
There's a goblin about wrist deep in your pack. He looks up at you. Please don't hurt me.
What are you doing?
I'm so hungry. And my mom is sick.
I don't have any food in there. Come with me. And then I'll lead this goblin over to my home.
Can you make a persuasion check?
17 on the die.
17. Oh yeah. Awesome. It's like, are you sure? You'll help?
Of course.
Okay.
I'd want somebody to do the same if I was in your position.
Okay, I'll follow you.
I'm gonna do a quick look and see if there's anybody following.
Yeah, make another perception check.
Okay. That is an 11 total.
An 11?
With the 3.
No, it doesn't seem like someone. You do see like you see this goblin's footprints, and and there's not like another set of them or anything, and it doesn't seem like anything else is following you, or even like in the woods to the side either.
Okay, I'll just take note of where the footprints were leading from, and then I'll bring this goblin to my house.
What's your name?
I'm thinking I have a ranger. I'm thinking very secluded. Let's go Roy. I think that's a cool name.
Hi, Roy. I'm Snack. Nice to meet you.
Snack. Good name.
Yes. And a little bit, maybe 20 minutes or so, you arrive back at your farmstead, and having talked with Snack a little bit, they've told you that they're looking for some like food and possibly like medicinal herbs that could help their sick mother.
I bring Snack inside, and immediately as we walk inside, my pet wolf animal companion stands up, and I'm sure it's fine. And then I look over to Roy and Champ. I'm gonna call him Champ.
Champ.
I look over to the wolf Champ and I just say, it's fine, lay back down. And then I will go over to the kitchen and grab onto some of the preserved meats that I have and a little bit of the vegetables that I have just harvested from the garden that I have. I'll hand it over, and then I'll bring them outside to the small patch of medicinal herbs that I have outside as well. And I will gather a few and hand it into their hands and say, this is for medicinal reasons. Obviously, everything else is for eating. Do you need anything else?
So, thank you so much. Do you want to come help, or do you want to take me back?
I can do that. if you need help, yeah, I can do that.
God, she's very sick.
I can do that. All right. And then I look back to the door. I'll open it and then bring Champ with us. Oh, right. Mm-hmm. And then I'll go back inside, grab onto a dagger, and hand it over to Snack. Be careful.
What are we doing? Oh.
This is emergency situations only.
Oh, you got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And he like tucks everything under his like arm, haphazardly.
Here, I put everything into a bag that I was carrying with the groceries back home, and I just put everything in. Let I put that on my bag or on my back.
So yeah, back down the path. About 20 minutes, and then you go back into the woods that you remember Snack came out of, and I would say it's about another 15 minutes, and you come to a small cave. It's not very big. There's like, they have scraps and crude tools and like a bad fire pit with the worst looking cook pot. Like, this is what you would expect from a goblin camp. And you see there's one goblin like next to another one that's laying down covered in blankets, and the one like stands up quickly. It's like, who goes there? Intruders! Snack! Snack's like, don't worry, I brought them. He's gonna help. Roy and Champ said they're here to help. Okay?
Champ, be on your best behavior. We're only here to help. I heard that somebody was very sick.
Well, I mean, the other goblin, Mudleg, starts talking. Well, it's nice to meet you. Just if you can help, please.
Yeah. Where's the person?
Mm-hmm. And takes you over to this older goblin woman, like laying down, sick, blankets, like towel over the head. And can you make a medicine check?
Mm-hmm.
We'll say you have a +5.
Natural 20 on that one.
Yeah, let's go. You've seen this before. You know exactly what this is, and you know exactly what to do. You brought the right things. How do you help this goblin woman? Goblin grandma.
They have a fever, so I think that I will bring together a few of the herbs to create like a natural ice pack almost. As putting them together, the chemicals kind of mix and then it begins to frost, and then I will put that just underneath the towel on the forehead. And as we're bringing the fever down, I think maybe this is from possibly like a poison from out in the nature in forest area. There's
a bad mushroom.
A specific could have been a bad mushroom. I think there's plenty of stuff that it could have been a severe case of like a prick from one of the branches of a bush or a bad mushroom. But yeah, let's go bad mushroom, and then I will see this small pile of those mushrooms over there, and I will say to Snack, you can't eat those over there. They're so good. Are not for eating. I understand, but if you eat too many, this is what happens. Or if you're not strong enough to handle them.
Okay. And then you see runs over and just kicks them, and like they go flying off.
Yeah, good. All right.
Yes.
So, and then I begin kind of using a mortar and pestle to turn one of the herbs into a almost paste type substance, and I will just say, this needs to be split into 3 different warm cups of water. Give this to her over the next 3 days, and she should be recovered. She should be fine after this first dose and recovering by tomorrow and fully back by the next day.
Thank you so much. I love making tea, so this is perfect.
Good. And if there's anything that you need help with, you know where I live. Just come and tell me.
Thank you.
I'm willing to help. That's why we're here. We're supposed to help each other.
I want to give you something for helping. Here, come here. And takes you like just outside of the cave. There's like a little nook, and there's a couple of like items there. There's like a sword, there's a wand, and there's an arrow. It's like you could have one of these if you want.
What do you have experience with? Are you a bow type of person? Have you ever swung a sword? Do you know magic?
I tried the sword once, and then I got it stuck in a tree, and when I tried to pull it out, I cut myself a little bit, and I have this scar, and he like pulls up his arm, and there's like a scar.
Okay. Well, I maybe give the sword to somebody else next time. I'm just gonna inspect this wand and just see if there's anything that kind of comes out of it as I swish it once.
Oh yeah, totally. You and 3 like whitish silver darts fly out of it and strike a tree.
Okay, I think this is safe. You just think of one person to aim at. That's fine. You guys can have that. I'll take this arrow.
Oh.
I think it'll be useful. Just don't use the sword anymore.
Okay.
You specifically. Anybody else can use it. I just don't want you to kill yourself using this.
And he's Mudleg's like, aye. And
I'm glad we agree.
When you grab the arrow, there is a faint magicness to it. Not entirely sure what yet.
I think this is something that I'll test when I get back home.
Yeah. So yeah, Snack starts making some tea with the herbs that you gave him. Even says that they're gonna make some normal tea for themselves. Did you want any, or were you gonna do? Sure. Did you want to do anything else here?
I think I will oversee the first making of the tea. Take some tea and maybe teach a little bit on how to use the sword to Mudlegs, and then after that I will just say, like I said, if there's anything you need, just you know where I live.
Thank you.
Of course.
We appreciate it so much, Roy, and like looks to Champ and Champ. Thank you.
And I think Champ will just come up to them and just like put his butt up to them, like requesting pats. It's okay. He won't do anything. And he just like falls over.
Wow.
All right. Well, let me know if there's anything else that happens with her, if anything starts to go bad.
You got it. Thank you.
And then I'll leave and begin walking back to my house.
Awesome.
Cabin in the woods.
Cabin in the woods. After you get back home, the goblins give you their sincerest thanks. And as you leave, they say, Mudleg yells out, the Iron Tooths owe you a debt. If you ever need it, let me know. And then shortly after you get home, you realize this arrow would probably explode if I shot it at somebody.
Nice. We love an exploding arrow.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the adventure.
Woo!
Nice. That was
saved
fun.
The grandma.
Yeah, save grandma. She was sick.
Love it.
Yeah. That was fun. I liked that you were so interested in just helping right away.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. That's kind of just how I make characters all the time. I mean, they say that you need to make your characters similar to you so that you know how to play them. Like, at least having a very signature characteristic of you in your character. And then you can have, like, you know, different stuff.
Yeah, totally.
But, I mean, I think that's my signature trait that I always put into characters, is that I'm always, like, trying to assume the best out of people and try to help first.
Yeah, because you totally were like, okay, I'm going to help this person, but is there an ambush?
Right, exactly. I just needed to be like, okay, no, we're good. Okay, all right. Yeah.
And so this is a adventure I came up with. What I did one time was essentially I was talking to my friend on the phone, and he was like, "What the fuck is D&D? I don't understand it." So I was like, "All right, you're on the road. You just got groceries. I literally did that, and then
incredible.
I wrote it down and you can go get this adventure on my Ko-fi page. Ko-fi? I don't know how to say it. It's like a free download over there.
Nobody does.
So like anyone can get it, and there's like stats for the PC and the goblin and the wolf. Actually, you included a wolf. There's stats for a wolf.
Yeah, there you go.
And they're one-line stats, so just like, and the adventure is like one half of a page, and then the other like column is like just information of the overview.
Yeah.
There's even like, in case you don't have any dice, you can. I got a bunch of like, there's like 20, 25 random numbers, so you can just like use those.
Nice.
Because it's nice to have, like we mentioned earlier, like having something like this ready to be like, what the fuck is D&D? You can pull this out.
Right.
And
yeah,
you know,
exactly. Yeah, having this just like in the dome is just perfect.
Yeah.
Because like what you were saying, yeah, I mean, like if a person doesn't understand what it is, I mean, anything to just show, okay, this is literally anything you want it to be.
Yeah. Whatever choice you make.
I tell you something, you respond.
You want to fight the goblin, you want to take it to home first and get supplies, you want to go straight to the cave and help out the mother, like there's different things that you can ignore it. You know, there's a bunch of different things that you can do.
Right, exactly.
And it's such a simple scenario. It can be done, I don't know, did that take us 15 minutes maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So it's I like it.
Yeah.
Just don't use the sword, use specifically. That was good.
Specifically Snack, he cannot use the sword. He almost killed himself.
And it's like, who doesn't want to help out a silly little guy?
Right, exactly. Yeah. I saw him reaching into my bag like, oh, that's a silly little guy kind of thing. You know, that's immediately what I thought.
Yeah, he rolled poorly. It was like a 9 or something.
Amazing.
Yeah. Cool, so there's that. The last thing I wanted to do is, I should have mentioned this earlier, but hey, chat, I'm calling you out. Chat, hey, do you have any questions you want to ask Johnny at all? I'll give you a couple minutes to slap them into chat and we can talk about them.
I know there was one question that I answered in chat earlier about what mic I have.
Oh yeah,
It is the Audio Technica AT2020.
It sounds pretty
good.
good.
And then I have it. Yeah, no, it's a great mic. And then I have Focusrite, I think. Scarlet Solo, I think it's called Focusrite.
That's a good one. I had that one for a while too.
Exactly. It's a really good one. It's relatively cheap. I don't know what anybody's budget is, but I think the whole thing was around 200 total.
Nice.
I know that AT2020s can come out to be like $80, and then sometimes depending on which model you get of the Scarlet Solo might be a little bit higher or lower, but yeah, under 200, I think.
Yeah. The mic I have is an Elgato mic. I have it hanging over, so it's not like in the screen. It's like right here. It's like barely off. But
nice. Perfect. I always wondered if I should do something like that.
I haven't done it accidentally. I just bought a bunch of different like arms and like things for cameras and the like different lights and stuff.
Yeah.
And this is actually like I like put two of them together. Because I had
nice.
one,
Heck yeah.
I had a long, just straight pole, and then I had a short with an arm. So I just took that arm and put it on the big one.
Yeah. No, I have one of those poles because I have a DSLR. So I have that up, and it's great because it doesn't move. That's the biggest thing about webcams, is that like having them be in the same position is so important for setting everything up, because you have to have your overlay set, and like it's so important to just have it set up, because then you don't have to move your camera around over and over and over again. So
it's never fun.
Yeah, and then I have a bunch of these for light over here, and then this.
Yeah.
I have an extra one which I usually flip up to like here, and then I have a down camera for whenever we play Commander.
Oh, nice. So, I have an old iPhone right here also hanging off of this for a desk cam, and I use Video Ninja to send it to OBS.
That's sick. That's so cool.
Here's what it looks like. I don't know if you're watching the stream, but that's what it looks like.
I have it open.
I'll do it again. Did you see it? Or I can do it again.
No,
so it's like, it's got my desk view.
I thought I had it open.
No worries. And I got it.
There we go. Cool. Okay, I got it open.
Right? It's great.
Oh,
I love it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And that's just the iPhone that's right there.
Tight. Yeah. No, that's awesome. What do you usually use it for, when you're like drawing or writing or something?
I'll use it like if I'm I like to bring out the physical book, like if we're talking like sometimes like when I made a D&D character with chat, I brought my physical book, and we so I had it smaller on the side, or maybe I had it full with my webcam off smaller to the side, because I have a bunch of different buttons set up. If you check out my stream again, I can pull up the desk cam smaller. I can also pull up. Do you see it? Yeah, I can also pull up.
Yeah. It's just there's the
different
delay.
browsers. I can pull up even my own webcam. So if I have something else going on, I can pull that up. I have if I want to.
Cool.
Get people to watch because extra ADHD, I can pull that up.
Nice. Oh my god, the fucking TikTok. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Or
it's fun times. But we did get a couple questions from chat. Not Quite Novelist asks, what's it like to be a big old dweeb?
Yeah, it's who I am. What's it like being me? I don't know. I like stuff, and I don't know how to answer. Other than it's great. Yeah. It's great. I love being able to feel comfortable in liking the things that I like, and not feeling like I need to be performing whenever I'm doing things, because I just get to be who I am.
Exactly. I love that it's the like owning the nerdiness and the weirdness. It's like what you like, what you love, somebody else hates. What you hate, somebody else loves. Like it doesn't really. Everyone has their own different likes and dislikes, and that's totally okay.
Yep. I think that's
what I love
something
about this too.
That it's one of those tough things to finally, like when you're growing up, obviously you want to be liked by people. That's how I was.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I was matching myself to the people that I wanted to be liked by, and now it's just I'm me.
Yeah.
I get to be me, and I'm comfortable with that, and I don't really give a fuck about people that
I'm gonna be nice to you, but I don't have to like you.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just I get to be me.
Yeah.
And I like that.
It's so much better.
That's one of the... Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just feel bad for people that aren't safe in their own self to where they can do that, because you only have one life, you know? I mean, if you believe in whatever, I believe that you only have one life, and so why would you waste any of it on something that you don't like, you know?
Exactly. That's a great answer. Let's see, what else do we got? Honey Mocha asks, what's your favorite monster to use? I'm going to switch that to, if you can do D&D and Daggerheart, answer.
Sure. D&D favorite monster to use. I know this is probably going to be a basic bitch answer, but like dragons are cool. I think that when you're throwing characters against something that can fly and they don't have means to be able to fly, I think that is a really cool encounter that is always dynamic, because I like to play monsters as very tactical, especially dragons, because they're actually smart. So whenever I attack, I'm like, peace, you can get one opportunity attack, which is more than the 5 regular attacks that you would have done. Cool. Did like 40 damage to you, and I'm back in the air, and now only your ranged people can hit me.
Love it. And
so it's... Go ahead.
Oh, it was even better if you can like grapple the squish wizard and fly him up with you. Drop him from up high.
That's exactly that, and then just like flying over everybody else, going specifically for that one. Yeah, no, it's great. I really like the versatility of being able to fly and do stuff like that. So, but also vampires. I mean, I ran Curse of Strahd, so I love vampires. They're great. Daggerheart, I haven't run enough to know what, really cool stuff, but I do really like... I'll go into like a little bit of a thing of what I like about the monsters in Daggerheart. Encounter balancing is based off of points, and each specific type of monster is a certain point value. So they have hordes, minions, standard, range, skulk, bruiser, and solos, and I think they have another one in there, I just can't remember. Social, that's what it is. And and so one of the things that I like about it is that each type of monster that you can have different variants that you can then add to, like a bruiser blighter that I have. I created one of those and what they can do and all of that stuff based off of what they already had with the zombie, but adding my own thing. And I think that's one of the coolest things, is how they separate those. Like in D&D you have like the CRs, but like in this there are different types of monsters and they have different point values, and you just create up until you hit that point value of however many players you have, and then yada yada yada. So I think Blighters is my favorite now, because that's like the only thing that I've ran at this point. And yeah,
but having different roles really cool allows you to still have that variety of Blighters, because you can have a minion, or I forget the terms, the bruiser, like you were saying, the solo,
skulk, ranger.
And, oh my god, I said solo, and I instantly thought of like those Resident Evil bosses.
Exactly. Yeah. You just make a really, really, really powerful monster that you can fight with. And even with solos, you're supposed to add other things to them too. So like solos and minions, or solos and a few standards. I mean, just as it should be. Like you should never just have
or like environments is fucking with you. There's got to be other things, not just a solo.
Exactly.
Next question. Not Joshua says, favorite scene, in-town scene that was improvised.
In-town scene. Let's see. Well, a lot of the first stream that we did with Bitten was improvised. A lot of it. I had how we start, but I didn't have how we ended. So I think that, I mean, like I said before, improv is preparation and spontaneity. So I had things prepared, and it was basically just like how you connect them, which is where that improv comes into play in between. I think my favorite one that I've done recently would be creating there was the farm encounter that I had prepped most of it, but having a barn with blighters inside of it, I added details to that. I had the idea, but I didn't like actually do it, so it was mostly improv. And I think that specific encounter was really cool, and it created a lot of tension in the story because of how dangerous it was that one character went in and shouldn't have but did. There was like 5 of them in there, so it was
that sounds intense,
stressful.
Let's see, that sounds really cool though, because like one of my favorite tips is for descriptions and stuff and a little bit of improv, watch TV or movies, especially stuff with the themes that you're running. Find a cool scene, pause it, start describing things.
Oh yeah, that's a cool idea.
Like Lord of the Rings on a Vista, pause it on a cool scene and like practice your intros like that. Or a fight scene, pause it, like describe what you're seeing in this fight scene. Or there's a bunch of different ways too.
There we go. Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, I think I froze there.
Yeah, happens. Oh no, you froze again. Uh-oh. We losing him?
There we are.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
Sometimes
back.
You gotta give it a little pop, pop.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
You gotta give it a
refresh a few things.
What's it called? Percussive maintenance.
Percussive maintenance, I love it.
Is the technical term.
Yes, of course, yes. Percussive maintenance.
Just like a power cycle, Unplug it, plug it back in. Alright, last question. Is there a character you haven't been able to play? Who are they, and what kind of game would you want to play them in?
There is. I've been able to play, but not enough to where like I feel content. I want to be able to play my divination wizard Arkith. I've always wanted to play a game where I'm a wizard from start to finish, because I really like. I mean, point of my whole thing is like Caleb from C2, from Critical Role. I like that is the experience that I wanted to have, is like start to finish I am a wizard and I'm gaining as many spells as I can so that I can be this all-powerful wizard, right?
Because he has this goal that he's trying to do, exactly, that you don't really realize until like way later on.
Right. I built Arkith. They are a orphan, not an orphan, no, their mom they were a sex worker, and so we didn't know who Arkith's dad is. And so basically there was a traveling wizard that had seen the aptitude that Arkith had and then brought him to school, and so he started from nothing to get to where he was, and then is now like searching for his dad and who that is. And
cool.
Yeah, I'd really like to do that character. But
that sounds awesome.
I don't play very often.
I wanna do in a Spelljammer space campaign. I want to do a GIF sorcerer that shoots spells as a gun, as bullets.
Mm-hmm.
So is like getting all of these like magical powders and ingredients or things, and is stuffing them into the bullets for the spells every night.
That's super cool. I love that. That's so cool.
I think it would be so fun.
Yeah. Just big ol' hippo person shooting a bunch of spells. I love that.
Fucking shooting fireball, shooting charm person, shooting magic missile, like whatever it is.
Charm person, that's good. That's awesome. That's so cool.
Just like thaumaturgy or whatever the spells
right,
are.
Yeah.
All from speak with plants. I don't know. That's not a sorcerer spell, but like.
I mean, they could just get like a magical bullet that does it, like a spell scroll, but it's a magical bullet instead.
I love spell guns. I want to play a warlock that has a gun, and then the gun shoots Eldritch Blast. Yeah, exactly. I think I did that a few times as my first warlock. I was like, pew pew, does the finger guns, pew pew, Eldritch Blast.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You have to do finger guns at least once as a warlock. You have to. It's a requirement.
Yeah. I just started actually watching Campaign 2 with my roommate. Then they're hooked on it. We're like,
that was what got me into Critical Role.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's great.
So one last thing. I have another guest next weekend. Can you give me a question for them?
Who is it?
You don't get to know.
I don't know.
No, I know, but you don't get to know.
Okay. How deep are we going?
I would say similar to how we did today.
Okay. Let's say, what is a time that you were most scared in a game? And how did you handle that?
That's good.
And scared, I can mean like if they're a GM, like terrified of running something.
Mm-hmm.
Not
There's
like
lots
scared
of different
as
types
in like
of scared.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then as a player, maybe they felt like on the spot, or maybe they actually were legit scared. And how did they deal with it? I think that's a important thing to talk about.
Yes. 1 second. Nice. Let's see. I wrote down the question. That's a really good question.
Thank you.
And last question. Who should we rate out to?
Good question. Let's see.
It'd be cool if we can double rate.
Handy dandy rating. Yeah.
I see Matt Colville is streaming, and I see that you are streaming.
I think, I know, I saw you too. Let's go Matt Colville. Why not?
Should we do Matt
That's
Colville?
what I got on my screen. Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Awesome sauce. Hey, thank you everybody for joining us today. This has been so awesome, Johnny. I really appreciate you taking your time out of your Saturday to join me.
Yeah, of course.
Really means a lot.
It's raining outside anyways, so perfect time for sitting inside and talking about gaming.
Totally. So Johnny, one last time, where can everybody find you?
Yeah, I'm Talking XP all over the internet, so at Talking XP. You can find me on YouTube for if you want to learn how to play Daggerheart. I just made a video on the way to create a character in Daggerheart, as well as I also have a video on how to play. So if you want to learn any of those things, I have those. And then I also have a how to GM Daggerheart video that is going to be coming in the next few weeks. I'm taking a break from scripting and recording and editing from the last video because it takes like 15 to 20 hours to get any of those done. It's a lot. So on the YouTube page, if you want to check it out. I also run Bitten, which is a Daggerheart game that is hosted here on TXP, as well as Crit Hit Chronicles. Either one you can join in, and we always do this same thing where it's shared chat and shared viewage and all of that. And what else? I'm all over the interwebs as Talking XP, so come follow me and say what's up, because I usually am on Threads, sometimes TikTok. It really depends on how I'm feeling. But yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Johnny. Yeah, please go follow them on YouTube. Go find them on Threads. Go find them on Instagram, Twitch. Like, please, Johnny has been so helpful for me in my journey as a creator and a DM. One of the first people to let me on an actual play. I don't know if you knew this, but I based the character off Ted Lasso. I don't think I ever told anybody.
Yeah, but that makes sense. That sounds right.
Fun. But yeah, thank you all so much. I really appreciate you joining me here for today. Go follow Johnny. Go follow me. We're gonna raid to Matt Colville. Johnny is literally the best. If you look up Johnny in the dictionary, it says the best. It's perfect. So thank you all so much.
You can't have two of the same definitions for Craig and Johnny.
Oh, but no, many words can mean the same thing.
True that. All right. There it is. We're both the best.
So I guess, as always, I'm Craig of Inspiration. That's Talking XP. Good luck with your next session. Go check out Free RPG Day. We'll see you in the future. Day. Raid out.
Raid out. Here we go. Oh yeah, I forgot there's a countdown. Almost raid out.
Oh, I did the countdown while I started talking.
I didn't do the countdown.
It's okay.
Here we go. Okay, right now. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Incredible.
Okay. Oops, I gotta go to my offline screen. There we go. Thanks, everybody.
Cool.